hum of the engines reverberated through the cabin as I settled into my seat, the cool air conditioning doing little to alleviate the unease that had settled in my bones. There was something off about this flight, something unsettling that I couldn't quite put my finger on. As the plane taxied down the runway, I stole glances at my fellow passengers. They all seemed wrong somehow. Their movements were jerky, almost robotic, and their expressions were blank, devoid of any emotion. I chalked it up to exhaustion or perhaps a particularly dull flight crew, but the feeling persisted, gnawing at the edges of my consciousness like a persistent itch. The flight attendants went through their safety demonstration, their smiles strained and their voices hollow. I tried to shake off the sense of dread that had settled over me like a shroud, focusing instead on the view outside the window as the plane ascended into the sky. But as the minutes stretched into hours, my unease only grew. The other passengers seemed to be acting stranger by the minute, their movements becoming more erratic, more inhuman. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination running wild, but deep down, I knew that something was very, very wrong. As the hours dragged on, I found myself growing increasingly desperate for some semblance of normalcy. I tried striking up conversations with my fellow passengers, but they either ignored me entirely or responded in monosyllabic grunts, their eyes vacant and unseeing. At last, unable to bear the eerie atmosphere any longer, I made my way to the restroom at the back of the plane. As I splashed cold water on my face, I caught sight of my reflection in the mirror, and what I saw made my blood run cold. My reflection was off somehow. My features seemed blurred, indistinct, as though I was looking at myself through a foggy window. I reached out to touch the glass, but my hand passed right through it, as if I was nothing more than a ghost. And then, in that moment, it all clicked into place. The strange behavior of the other passengers, the feeling of wrongness that had hung over the flight like a dark cloud, it all made sense. I was dead. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks, sending me reeling. I stumbled back from the mirror, my mind racing as I tried to make sense of it all. How had I died? When had it happened? And why was I now trapped on this eerie, otherworldly flight? As the truth sank in, I felt a chill settle over me, colder and more profound than anything I had ever experienced in life. I was alone, adrift in a world that existed beyond the realm of the living, surrounded by the echoes of souls long departed. And as the plane continued on its journey, carrying me further and further from the world I once knew, I couldn't help but wonder what lay waiting for me at the end of this strange and eerie flight.